Hey, good day, everyone. This is Charles Blatchford, pastor of Bux-Mont Baptist Church, coming to you today with my father, Dr. Dan Blatchford. So happy to have you on today, uh,
Thank you.
Dr. Blatchford. So many parents and so many families are doing school at home right now, either a hybrid model or doing everything at home because of COVID-19. A lot of parents are experiencing challenges and issues. We hear about it all the time at the church. We do school at home with our kids as well. And so I'm interviewing Dr. Dan Blatchford today just to get some advice on how to do that better. Dr. Blatchford has over 20 years experience as a teacher. He also has over 20 years experience as a school administrator, being the director of special education curriculum at a school, also being a principal, and then as a superintendent as well. And Dr. Blatchford also has a doctorate of education from Rutgers University. So really grateful to have you on today and share your experience and your love of education with a lot of different parents. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So Dr. Blatchford, one of the challenges in changing the school environment from a traditional school to a home environment is just, houses aren't typically designed to be educational environments. Most of us don't have our homes set up in that way. So what are some simple things that parents can do to improve the learning environment at home?
You're right about that. Parents are not set up for home. The recent history of the United States is that we entrusted schools to provide the education for children, and we spent a lot of money on it, and the schools were very effective. Across the world, the United States always ranks in the top couple countries in terms of providing education. We spend more on K-12 education than anyone on the planet. And, the teachers do a wonderful job. Our test scores are really up there. Occasionally, some other countries will beat us in certain areas, but for the most part, we are really near the top. And now, all of a sudden, more parents are doing a lot more teaching at home. A lot of school systems are virtual, or they'll start off at a virtual blend model and they'll go all virtual. So a lot of the stress is falling on parents. And I guess the overall concept is that parents just relax, know they're doing a good job, knowing that there are a lot of resources out there. And really, nothing is that critical. Like if you miss something in one grade, there are lots of ways to make it up in other grades. And I think that's very important to remember.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice of not to get too stressed out about things and think, every day is the end of the world if it's a bad day or a difficult day with the kids or with education. And it's probably something we could multiply in almost every aspect of life, not to multiply things and act like the sky is falling on a bad day in particular. What are some of the things that, a parent could do to set up a space for their kid to learn? It's not always possible in every household, but are there specific things that educators like yourself do at school to help kids focus when they're being taught or things like that? Is there anything specific they could do in a home environment to set their kids up for success?
I think a real big thing is to understand that multitasking really does not work. It usually means you're doing two different things at less capacity for each one. And so whether you have a specific chair or a small table or a small part of your house, that's where you would go for the lesson and have your child concentrate on that particular lesson as opposed to watching TV, doing a worksheet at the same time. It's very important to concentrate on that. In hand with that, though, is people do not have long attention spans. At the very most, it's a 20-minute attention span. And to top it off, it's not even 20 minutes. A lot of times people will concentrate for 5 minutes and then their mind drifts out and they bring it back very, very quickly within seconds lessons, and that's really how it makes up like a 20-minute thing. So I think that a specific area, no multitasking, and keep the lesson short is probably, the two main things for the kids. Another thing is listen very carefully to your child. Um, I was providing tutoring just a couple days ago for a child, and there was no way on earth she was going to concentrate. And so what happened was we let her play by herself for a while, and then we started the mathematics again, and she just did fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. When I was in school systems, I had a kid that the teachers, for the most part, wrote off. And I said to the boy, really intelligent boy, about fifth grade, I said, what do you like to do? And he said, I like to draw. So I said, fine. Here's a pad, and I gave him a pencil. And I told the teacher, listen, when he doesn't want to do math or anything, let him draw for a couple minutes and get him back to that. And the teacher didn't like the idea, but when she tried it, it worked really well. He went on to pass all of his subjects and do well in it. So listening to your child is very important, in addition to not letting multitasking happen and short lessons. Again, the child would read his work and then he would draw. Those are two different things, not draw and read at the same time. So that's important. Another thing is to help kids a whole lot is choice. If they want to read one particular kind of a book, let them read that kind of a book if at all possible, and then you can branch out to other particular areas. But the more choice you give, usually the better they function. Just like the girl we were tutoring the other day, she wanted to do something else. We gave her a choice. So again, don't let multitasking happening. Let them concentrate on the work. Short lessons or short exercises, listening to your child, and of course providing them with choice are all very important things to help kids de-stress and focus on their work.
Yeah, that's some great stuff. Really good advice to take to heart for parents. Just the first piece of saying it's not the end of the world if things aren't going perfectly, especially in this period of time. And then also, the flexibility, saying, if something's not going well, you can look at it in a couple different angles and kind of cater things to the specific child, give them a break, let them have a moment to then refocus and get back in. Because I think, all of us, even adults, if we concentrate or try to do something for too long of a period of time, we get worn out and lose focus and get frustrated. And then the other thing about concentration, that's a big piece too. In today's world with smartphones and iPads and televisions and just distraction after distraction, especially being in a home environment where kids are usually doing education, it's easy to get distracted. So trying to cut out a specific area or place where they can focus on learning and education when it's time to do that work is another great piece of advice. We've talked before about small wins. Sometimes small wins can ultimately lead to long-term success, and just even children getting caught up with thinking they don't like certain subjects, like especially important subjects like math or reading or things like that. Do you have any suggestions for parents on how to help their kids develop a love of learning and not get, if a kid has a bad day, to not permanize that bad day and say, now I hate math or I hate this? Do you have any suggestions about that?
Yes, absolutely. One thing you did talk about briefly was the love of learning, and that is extremely important to think about. And there's a lot of research out there indicating that the way we've been teaching reading is probably not the most effective way to do that. The love of learning is huge. Look, for example, at reading comprehension. Let's say you had a little boy who was really interested in dogs and wanted to read like every book possible on dogs, read every TV show on dogs. when that child goes to read something, even though he's in third grade, even if is reading below grade level, it's likely that he could read a fourth or fifth grade book on dogs and get the vast majority of information out of that. And so in the future, we're going to see a lot of reading comprehension that is going to talk about background skills, background knowledge, and of course, what they really like to do. And so, by doing those things, you're going to help kids read a lot more. That also points to the other thing about parent anxiety. If parents are nervous about their kids are going to pick up the nervousness and not do well. And we want to make sure that does not happen. We want to instill a love of learning, whether it's about dogs or whatever topic the child is interested in. And also, a reduction in, parent nervousness or anxiety. Mathematics is really a wonderful subject. It's about predicting and explaining reality. And all too often I hear parents, even at PTA meetings, say, I hate math. I was never good at math. We really should not, encourage that in children at all. If a child is having difficulty with mathematics, listen. If you study it, you will learn it. Mathematics is fun and easy, and if you do study it, you will learn it. The thing too is that parents think that the world is coming to an end, or the child's mathematics education is coming to an end if they don't do good in third grade mathematics. But look at all the ways you can catch up. Let's say a child does terrible in mathematics all the way through 12th grade. They can go to college or community college, take a couple math classes, and probably be caught up. The other thing is right now there are just a tremendous amount of resources on the web that can help kids learn mathematics. So it's really important for math, science, of course, reading and social studies, that children have the attitude that, hey, learning is fun. If I work at it, I will learn it, and then they will really wind up doing quite well on the mathematics and every other particular subject.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I remember some of that stuff from when I was a kid. I didn't like to read certain books. For sure, they were just boring. I'd get tired. But then there were a couple books that you got me, I think the Choose Your Own Adventure books and different types of books that were really interesting to me. And I would read those books like crazy because, just go through them very quickly because they were very interesting and engaging. And then also I remember math. I was really good at math, middle school and beginning part of high school. And so my memory had me think that I was good at math my whole life. But it was funny is I was going through some old papers when we were clearing out some stuff, and I came across some standardized tests, I think from the second or third grade, and my math scores were not very good. And then I recalled that I think it was a summer in elementary school where you incentivized doing math sheets where I'd get $1 for every time I did a math sheet. And I ended up doing a lot of math sheets over that summer. And then I remember being really good at math after that. Like you said, there's time to make things up. Even if there's a bad year or a bad season, fortunately, life allows that opportunity. And then also there's just a lot of examples of brilliant mathematicians and scientists and things like that who struggled in those fields at some point in their academic career and turned it around. So, I think that's a really good message for me as a parent of 3 kids, just saying, don't live and die with every little thing, but overall try to give that broad picture, encourage them and have learning be fun, because we should do it our entire lives, for sure. And there's even research where as we learn, as we get older, it prevents certain types of mental decline and things like that. Reading, crossword puzzles, just continuing to learn serves us well throughout our entire lives. So that's really good.
There are lots of times to catch up. I'll tell you one more thing. I know we want to keep this short, but I had a student that was in dire poverty in the middle of an urban environment, had absolutely no advantages or very, very few advantages in life, a very, very tragic family history in 7th grade, reading on a 2nd grade level. And what I did was I turned around and I started to cut comics out. And I would take the comic and I would put it on a piece of paper, glue it there, and I would write reading comprehension questions about the particular comic. And in all honesty, in the beginning, he got them all wrong. But after about 5 or 10 comics, he started to understand. He could see the graphic of the comment and the words, then get the reading comprehension question. Once he started to do that, he could pick up reading material and understood what reading comprehension was. And in 2 years, he wound up reading on grade level and graduating from high school. And so there are lots of chances to catch up. And like I said, right now with all the resources on the web, it's even more powerful than it was at that particular time.
Yeah, that's really neat. And just that personalization, that customization is really neat as well, especially to hear from somebody with as much education experience. And I know you read a lot of studies and data as well. I think sometimes we get caught up thinking it has to be a particular way and we can't, cater. There's not as much strategy sometimes on individual children. I think as parents we feel, but on the other side of that, there are individual education plans and things like that for kids. So yeah, that's really great to hear. A really good message. Anything else? Any other advice you would want to give parents who are trying to juggle a lot of stuff right now, trying to help teachers? One of the things we hear a lot is just they're doing Zoom lessons, so the teacher is still teaching, but it's just a different environment. And so really at home, they're trying to supplement what the teacher is doing over Zoom. So any other advice that you would want to give parents?
Absolutely. The last thing is do not write off virtual instruction. The research coming out right now indicates that virtual instruction is very, very powerful, and there are certain aspects of lessons that are actually taught better virtually than if you have a teacher teaching them. And so like parents gotta look at their child, find out what their child is interested in, find the virtual instruction out there, and it can be a tremendous help. And again, it's another way to make stuff up, make up progress you may have missed, and increase a love of learning. But again, thank you very much, and I applaud the church's efforts to help families with learning at home.
Great, thanks so much. At Bux-Mont Baptist Church, we want to help people as much as we can. We want to be a blessing to our community, help people also grow in their faith of God as well. So if there's anything we could do for you, please reach out to us and let us know. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks a lot, Dr. Blatchford, for being on.
Thank you.